Hey everyone, it's Jennifer, and today I want to show you how to make this card. This is a card we're making at my monthly craft class that's coming up this weekend. But of course, if you're watching this video later, you can still learn how to make the card. But right now you have a chance to RSVP for that class. So this is the card we're going to make at my class, which is also a club. They're both, optional. You can come to the class, you can be a club member, or neither. So this is the one we're making. It is inspired by this card that my creative assistant Chris made. Now she did, of course, her amazing watercoloring and, just put a lot more detail into this card. This would be difficult to recreate in a class, this type of class anyway, because it's a self-paced, faster moving class than this card would take, but this one's beautiful. So I just copied it in my simpler version. You guys know I'm a simple stamper. So let me show you how to make this card. I'm going to bring in some scratch paper, and the first thing I want to show you is how to stamp this flower stamp. So it's from the Oh So Succulent stamp set, which is in the Occasions catalog in January through June, I think, 2017. So this stamp set is awesome. You need it. And it coordinates with the succulent framelits, which those are the framelits that make all this cool succulents you've been seeing on Pinterest and everywhere on people's blogs, all that stuff. And we are going to use one of these dies today, which is this one here that coordinates with that flower we're stamping. But these are the dies that you can make those succulents with. Okay, so I want to show you first how to stamp this flower. So we'll use these two images here. So basically what you have to do when you mount your stamps onto the clear blocks, you just have to look at the points of the flower and figure it out. I like to stamp a sample first and get it aligned, and figure out which petals align with which petals, and then if this one, whatever petal this one aligns with, I'll put that at the top on the other clear block. And then I'll label it with a T for myself and my class members, so they know where the top is. Then when you're stamping, you have to remember where you stamp the top. So we're going to stamp this. I always like to stamp the solid image first in two-step stamping, and then the detail on top of that. So the detail is going to be Bermuda Bay, and the solid is mint macaron. Don't forget in class, or if you have a plastic table or anything that's not super firm like mine here, it's a countertop, put your Stampin' Pierce mat underneath to get a smooth image with photopolymer stamps. So we're going to stamp the solid image first. It should stamp well because it's a firm surface here. And this stamp automatically gives you those white out details. It's really cool. So when you stamp step 2 right on top, I know I stamped this perfectly straight. When I say straight, I'm just looking at the clear block is straight with my paper. I know I stamped it straight, so I should be pretty easily be able to align this. But I have to get my head right on top of it because the clear block can also play little tricks on your eyes. And see how this is a little crooked, so nobody's perfect. I aligned it straight. That gives me the general guide that this is the top, but yeah, it may be to the left or right a slight amount. And that's how you can stamp these stamps really easily. So I like to do the solid one, then the detail, and just align them first on my clear block. Then you would die cut this one out with that die, which I also marked. And again, it's an approximate top, but this little black Sharpie mark here tells me if I stamp this straight and I remember that's the top of my paper and that's the bottom, then that's approximately where it'll align for die cutting. And so I die cut that out with the Big Shot and just the magnetic platform, which you can get free when you purchase a Big Shot from me if you're interested. Okay, so we'll take a look at the card again. We're going to stamp these other floral images here, or succulents. Let me get a ruler real quick and tell you what size this paper is. 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, Now, I like to have my sample nearby when I'm copying something, even myself or Chris, whoever I'm copying. So when I stamp this one here straight, I am going to tilt it a little to the left, so I just need to remember that. I went to the left on that one. And then sometimes I will use my image that I know I'm going to put in between something or on top or whatever as a little guideline for me to know where to stamp the next image. And then I tilted that one to the right. So I just have to remember that when I stamp step 2. And again, this is Bermuda Bay. So see how I have the clear block tilted to the left? And we're not all perfect. We will not be perfect every time. Do not stress yourself over that. I did stamp some of these that were very not perfect, and I did flip my paper over and redo it. You know, we all have those times. Okay, then I'm going to use this again when I stamp these little pieces here. I don't know what these are called in the succulent world, but they're really cute. So it's another 2-step, much easier to align, but I still marked top because there's like a little stem that comes out on one end that shows you this is where it's growing from. And I stamped some backwards on my first sample, and that stem looks really silly going the wrong way. So I want my class members to know this is the top, which means that's the part that comes out of your plants. And the 2 colors we're going to use on this are Sweet Sugar Plum and excuse me, Rich Razzleberry. So we'll do our Sugar Plum first. That's the more solid image, and the lighter is always the more solid. And just kind of make it look like this one. So there's that image. Now this one is coming out from under the 3D flower. So again, I'll lay it there so I'll kind of know. I'll lay this there so I'll kind of know where to place it. Then I'll pull it out real quick. And we have one down here. And again, we have one coming out from under. So it's right about there. It'll be different every time, of course. It's not going to be a perfect match. And right about there. Then this detail, you just go in your Rich Razzleberry, your darker color. We don't need this at this time. I almost stamped on top of it earlier. And I like to get my head right on top of it. It's a little hard to see for me right now because the camera's right where my face is. But, oops, wrong color. Ah. As you can see, we're not all perfect. So that's a time in class. You can either flip it over or live with it. I choose to live with it. See, because it's a handmade card anyway. No one's gonna, you know, criticize you for that. Okay, then if you can see, this Very Vanilla piece here is a lot, or it stands out, it pops out from the background. So how we did that is we sponged the background. Again, how Chris did it is she watercolored the background, and hers is on watercolor paper. So for this sponging, the key is you have to be very light, use a very light touch, and it's mint macaron, not the Bermuda Bay, so it's the lighter color. So get some ink on there, but let me pull this in so you can see. But sometimes I ink like this on my stamp pads. I press really hard on purpose, but this time we don't want too much ink on there, and we even can test it on our scratch paper first to make sure it's not too dark. Basically, we don't want it too dark. Now if you want it dark, you can, but to be honest, the first sample I made was too dark and I did not like it. That did get scrapped. And it's one of those, like, it's really light and you're like, where's all my inking? I can't see it. Then when you put the same color, this is Very Vanilla and Very Vanilla, against it, you see, oh, it did turn green. So that's about how much sponging I would do. I would stop there, but again, it's your card, so your choice. And we know our little 3D flower is going to go here and cover up this ugly part in the center. And so, real quick tip on Happy Birthday Wishes, if you want to recreate that, the original piece of paper was, I think it's 3.5. It's 1 inch wide. Oh, 3 3/4. So if you cut it to 3 3/4, then punch each side with the banner triple punch, then stamp. I always say punch first with these punches, because if you guess where the center is and eyeball it and then you punch it and it's wrong, you have to start over. So punch first, then stamp. Happy Birthday Wishes is from Avant Garden, which is free with $50 purchase through the end of March 2017. And this is a beautiful stamp set that it's just very popular, at least with my group. So check that out. And it has some good greetings in it as well. Okay, so we will tie this ribbon around. This is the celebration ribbon, free with $50 purchase. We have so many cool gifts you can get free right now. Not just stamp sets. There's ribbon and designer papers, and there's a box, and there's some new stuff about to come out February 21st, I believe. Some glimmer paper and more stamp sets. So lots of choices there. But this ribbon comes in silver and gold in one pack for one price. And look how beautiful it is. So just tie that on. And, you know, depending on the card and how you're doing your card is when you tie the ribbon. So this one on mine goes around the vanilla, so I needed to tie it now before I glue this down to anything else. Then I will add the flowers and greeting on with dimensionals. Okay. Oh, you can see how I messed that up on the back. We get 2 chances every time we stamp, usually. At least 2. Sometimes more, depending on what you're doing. Okay. Happy birthday wishes. Then just attach this to the next layer, which I'll give you the size. It's Bermuda Bay. My favorite adhesive now is Fast Fuse, because it's so strong. You hardly have to use any. And I'm in Texas, and in Texas we have to use a lot of snail, which snail works great. It's fine. You just have to use more because we're in like a humid area and our stuff can fall apart, but not with Fast Fuse. It's awesome. So this is a skinny border. So it is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. I'm holding that where you can see it. There's the 3 5/8. Okay. Then the next layer is crumb cake, and it's my standard next layer size on a normal card. So it's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And on this one, we're going to stamp the hardwood stamp. Woohoo, hardwood. It's an awesome background stamp. And just in case you don't know how to do that, I want to show you. We're doing crumb cake ink. So you leave the stamp on the table. Leave it upside down there. This is how I really work with all my stuff crowded all around me. Tap your stamp pad all over. You don't want to rub, because the new foam pads don't rub well, but tap it all over. Place your cardstock on there, and that's when you can align it to make sure it's straight. Of course, now don't shift it because the ink has touched it. And then just put a piece of scratch paper on top and rub. Everywhere that you know there's paper under there is where you rub. This will give you more even stamping with these large stamps. And again, it helps you align it straight. Okay, then this piece here goes next. I'm going to put a supply list on my blog to the supplies used for this card, and I do have a monthly ordering special in 2017, so you can check that out on my blog as well if you're interested, or if you're in club and you want to see the supplies or whatever the reason is. They'll be listed on the blog when I post this video. And there's our finished card. That's just a normal card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in half with the bone folder. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Give watercoloring a try if you're good like Chris, or if you're more like me and you can only handle the simple things. Give this one a try. And I hope to see you guys again at stampwithjennifer.blogspot.com. Remember, you can order online anytime, or I'd love to see you at a live class. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good day.